I have the ultimate sim racing wheel comparison for you today because we're talking about a potential giant killing. This could be the end of an age and the start of a new age, and I'm going to let you know my complete honest opinion here. I have a Logitech G923 that I won in a sim racing competition. This is a PC and Xbox wheel. This is the de facto entry-level budget king. I've got it with the stock pedals. It's all connected to the Xbox. I've got here the new challenger, the Moza R3 direct drive review unit I've had from Moza for months and months and months. And finally I can make these videos and let you know what the difference is. This comes in about $400, £400. The Logitech G923 goes up and down. I have affiliate links for both. They may give you a discount as well. They'll be in the description, but I'm going to put these completely head to head now. We're going to start pure sim racing. I've gone for one of the best sim racing games on Xbox, which is Project Cars 2, and I'm going to start on the Moza R3. So I've got the SRP light pedals that come bundled with this. I've got the R3 base that's just shy of 4 Newton meters, and I've got the Xbox rim as well. This is all part of the bundle, and we're going to start here in Project Cars. I'm sitting slightly offset because of the way I'm doing this. I haven't done this game before on the Moza R3. Goodness me. So you can maybe see and hear, if I'm quiet, that I'm getting quite a lot of detail through the car. And I have to say, I was using Moza CRP pedals yesterday when I was using this wheel on like Forza Horizon and messing around, and it makes no sense because you don't want a load cell. Here we are at Imola, so there's a lot of detail in the wheel. There's quite a lot of pushback when you turn in. Project Cars 2, this is the basis for big sims like Automobilista 2 as well, the Madness engine. It's detailed. There's not a lot of resistance all the time. It kind of peaks at a high resistance, relatively speaking, but there's also a lot of times where you're just not really getting any resistance. Very different, for example, from the Camus C12. The Camus C12, not a console wheel, but just has like the most like creakily force feedback I've ever experienced. Got to give the position back. But you can see it's a detailed experience at Imola here in, I think, an IndyCar or something. It's quite a snappy car to drive. Probably not the one I should have chosen, but I am able to, even though I can barely hear the game, just about control it. So we've got that detail. If I take my hands off the wheel, you'll see it's sort of doing that faint movement. That's an archetypal Moza thing. I've gone off. Okay, so there we go. That is the Moza R3 initial. We're going to go through a lot of details. We're going to go through the build quality, but I just wanted to show you me driving that on the Xbox. We're now going to go over to the Logitech. Hopefully this is going to work. I'm going to pull this out and it's going to say connect the controller. What are you doing, my guy? And then I'm going to plug that in. And now the G923 is going to go absolutely ballistic. So you saw there the way it started. It was quite aggressive in the startup. Big price difference. This often is on around like $250. You can get this that sort of money. So it's cheaper than the Moza, and you get everything. You get the rim, the wheelbase there connected, and you get the pedals as well. We're going to do the same race. Right, here we go then. Pedals working, you can see. Trying to have a better start than I did last time. Wasn't a great start. Still not a great start. Wow, very different experience. Goodness me. Very, very, very different. Ooh. Not as you might expect. It's a lot more gradual. It's a lot more gradual on the G923. And it's a lot smoother and it's a lot noisier. Like, I need to explain this to you because it's such a critical, it's arguably the most important video I've ever done on this channel, because for anyone who's getting into sim racing or just racing games or looking to get a present for your kids or something to surprise them, like, this is hard-earned money may go on one of these two wheels, and I want to make sure that I'm giving you all of the right information for you to make an informed decision. This definitely feels plasticky, it rattles, There's moments where it feels very, very, very light, but then there's moments where it feels heavy. Look at that. We didn't get anything like that on the Moza. There's things I don't like about this. That from, you know, someone who's using like top of the range equipment. I don't like the knocking. I don't like the geariness and notchiness like that. That I really don't like. That's not something you would ever experience in real life like that. So I don't like that. But there's something very good about the way that it builds the force feedback. Imagine through here, this right-hander. Yeah, that is quite a good feeling, but it just can't sustain it. Remember, these are just stock settings on both of them. As you've seen, I'm just doing the same race. And struggling, by the way. That's okay. So basically, in the middle, there's sort of nothing. There's a bit of nothing here. I don't know if you can see. And I wonder if that's dead zone. Let's actually have a look at the settings here in Project Cars 2. Okay, here we are then. I've reset the dead zone. There's no dead zone down the steering. And I'm in a Ferrari 488 GT3. One of my favourite cars that I've driven in real life. And we're going to see how realistic the force feedback is. The paddles are actually very nice. They're much not... Ooh. That force feedback there was very nice and very sustained. Like it didn't lose the peak there. It's when the force feedback comes in and out. Like that's a bit of a weird sensation. Coming up a rouge. Oh no! I've lost... Oh, been taken out. It didn't feel great going up a rouge. I couldn't really feel. You can see it's straining a little bit, and sometimes the force feedback comes in and out, and I would really struggle to be, I think, decent. You know, I was for a long time racing on my Thrustmaster T150. That's a belt-driven wheel, and I was pretty quick on the T150. I was top split on the T150 in Gran Turismo Sport. Believe it or not. But there's something about the notchiness here. I do really like the pedals. The pedals just feel so good. I'm on carpet here. And they're just not moving. And they're very nice and clearly designed to be used in a sort of sat down position like this. So top marks to Logitech. Slow down, you're going too fast. Did I overtake him off the track or something? They've clearly done a really good job with the pedals. And I know people spend a lot of time trying to do like true brake mods and everything on the pedals when you want to get to that level, but just having fun on a console, I think this is great. Okay, I want to go... Oh, this is nice. So it's not... It's sort of mid-corner, it's nice. It's those moments coming into a corner and out of a corner, snaps of oversteer. That's where the G923 is just... You can see it's falling short. And again, this is my experience of using top-of-the-range equipment. I think the bus stop is going to be not great. That's my thought. But something like here, just like that sort of sustained corner, I can feel the force feedback. Interesting question is whether I prefer the Thrustmaster T150 over this. I need to go back. Big lockup. Yeah, this kind of stuff is... And let me know in the comments if you're an experienced user of this wheel. But that's where I really struggle. Okay, now we're going to go over to the Moza R3. Okay, here we are now on the Moza R3 at Spa in the Ferrari. Remember that the Logitech felt like it struggled, like switching direction and like going from load to load. Let's see how the Moza's going to be. The Logitech was very good here in La Source. I really liked it. How's the Moza? Well, the Moza's more subtle. I actually feel like there was more force feedback on the Logitech through La Source. It was harder to turn the wheel. I felt the tyres, but the Moza's just a little bit more detailed. It's a bit, I'm saying crooked. It's a bit, let's see a rouge. That's interesting. Still not the best Eau Rouge, but when we did that in the Logitech, I just couldn't really feel anything. Whereas here, I'm more connected. There's a lot more going on. With the wheel, I can feel the bumps actually in the road surface. Big old lock up there. What about Les Combes? Switch of direction. I have to say, This is a lot better. Is it worth £150 more? I think so. I think this is, I mean, this is a direct, you're getting that direct drive benefit where it's just sort of smooth. The on and off, as the load on the car sort of tapers away, it tapers away smoothly in the Moza, whereas the Logitech, it's very sort of like, can be abrupt. So the mid-corner load on the Logitech, I think, is absolutely fine. Like coming through here, like this sort of load, it's really good. But it's when you straighten the wheels, it all falls away in a quite hard to understand way relative to this Moza R3. And that means I think you're going to be able to drive faster in the R3. Because you're just going to be able to get more dialed in to what the car's doing. I don't want to take anything away from the Logitech. It is cheaper. Oh, goodness me. But it is fundamentally an older technology. I just want to make sure we go through the bus stop in the R3 because that is such a critical corner. I can't really hear the screen, by the way, just for the purpose of this video. So normally I'd be a bit more dialed in. How are the triggers on both? We'll find out as we spam the downshifts. I think the pedals on the Logitech are just better. I think I prefer the pedals on the Logitech. I think the pedals are quite similar. Let's try Eau Rouge again on the Moza. You can see I'm enjoying it though. It's like it's just a pleasure to drive this. Just straighten my head or try and work out. Yeah, you can very much feel what the car's doing that you just can't in the Logitech in Project Cars 2 anyway. We're going to try other sims in this video. But this is a big, and it's ice cold as well. I am impressed with the Moza R3, but I think I do prefer the Logitech pedals. I don't know if maybe these pedals are more designed to be bolted onto a rig because they have the same form factor as the SRPs. What we're going to try now is we're going to try another game. So one thing you really need to bear in mind with these wheels is that it's Logitech versus Moza. There's different levels of support. Logitech have been around forever in sim racing, making wheels. This one's got True Force. It's supported by absolutely everything pretty much. The Moza R3 I don't think works on F124. I've connected both wheels here, but I started with the Moza, and that's why it's getting panicked. So it doesn't work on F124. What I'm going to do now, and I have no idea whether this is going to work or not, I'm going to try and start it with the Logitech and we'll see what happens here. So to do that, I'm going to unplug the Moza and I'm going to plug the Logitech in here. And you'll see the Logitech's going to spin around. And now we're going to start F124 with the Logitech and we're going to see if this is going to work. A big thing here is that Logitech, the G923, you're only going to get this rim, the circular rim. There are some aftermarket rims you can get, by the way, that I can review if you want me to. The Moza one, in the future, you might be able to get more Moza F1 shaped rims. I do have a Moza F1 rim. Oh, here it is. I do have a Moza F1 rim, but it won't work on Xbox because it's the Xbox that makes it's the rim that makes it Xbox compatible, if that makes sense. Okay, let's start here then with Verstappen. I'm going to shuffle across. So you can see it's all working already. Should have used a clutch. There's a clutch on the pedal plate. Oh, it's semi-auto gears. And look at this. I'm already in the lead as Max Verstappen. Collision with Leclerc. And it just works. Like, the sensitivity's weird. The game handles terribly. I can't believe they've ruined the F1 games like this. How could they do it? But it's just definitely designed for a controller, this game. You know, it works. I'm on F1. I've downloaded it. I've got my Logitech G923 and it just works. By the way, the force feedback is very light on this, very different to Project Cars 2. I've got the little LEDs that are showing on the wheel, which is quite cool. I've just been taken out by Leclerc. I've just been Leclerc'd. He's Magnussen me. Yeah, the force feedback is very, very, very light. You remember in Project Cars 2 when I let go of the wheel, it would snap back. Oh, Charles Leclerc's out, what a shame. Here, there's almost no force feedback on default settings. Got to stop hitting the gears. So, this is a very entry-level, toy-like experience, I would say. In fact, I'd go as far to say, as the F1 game is like pretty much designed for a pad. I told you I was going to be completely brutally honest in this video. So this is not, I mean, it's like, it almost feels like the wheel is just pretending to be a joystick. It doesn't feel like a wheel at all. But we know that the wheel can feel very good because in Project Cars 2, when you're going through mid-corner, you've got proper force feedback and it feels really good mid-corner. Struggles with the transition, but here it's just, there's absolutely nothing. I just want to show you what we've got in the settings. Vibration and force feedback. I'm going to turn it up to 150. Here we go then. There's a little bit more. I would say that feels like it's gone up by like maybe 10%, if that. So, yeah, not a great game on the wheel on F1, but at least it works. Now, what I want to do is, in the settings page here, I'm going to go to control. So you can see Logitech G923 is there. What's going to happen if we swap over to the Moza? Let's find out. So, okay, so the Moza definitely doesn't work on the F1 game. Definitely doesn't work. Let's go into another sim. Right, here we go. I've come to a rally game now, or arcade rally game, and I'm on the Moza R3 to start. I've done this before in the R3, and it was a really nice experience because it's just, you get rewarded for the precise inputs that you're making. I can feel everything. It's not too heavy. Taking my hands off the wheel there when I'm in the air like I'm some sort of like at the X Games. I've been brutally crashed into there. I'm not sure manual gears is really the one. But it's just a nice experience, and I wonder if this is sort of what people are going to be doing on the R3. It's going to be stuff like this, Forza Horizon, maybe Need for Speed, maybe The Crew, maybe Test Drive Unlimited. These games where you would normally be using a gamepad, you're going to do it on your Xbox wheel now and actually just have a more in-depth experience. It's not sim racing, it's just fun racing. And there's just something fun about this experience to the left. You feel like when you do something nice on this wheel, oh, that wasn't it, but you feel like it was you because it is so precise. You can feel everything. See, I'm just clipping things at the moment, and I'm pretty sure the Logitech is not going to feel like this. I think the Logitech is going to feel a little bit more random. The input here, the feedback is very consistent, so I feel permanently connected to the steering wheel, which I think is really important for that sort of like getting into it, especially in a sort of surface in a game like this. You can see I'm investing in this. I want to drive well because I know it's not the tools holding me back. Come on. Honestly, I think this is where the R3 really shines, I have to say. And this is not a game that I've ever before been interested in playing whatsoever. I've had no interest in playing this on a gamepad. And this is pretty much transforming the experience for me. So I can say with good confidence that if you're going to play these sort of games on the R3, if they're supported, then you're going to be having a lot of fun. Like, it's just, this is a fun experience. It's clamped to my table. But what we want to do now is we want to go onto the Logitech. Again, we're going to try and see if we can do the hot swap. I had an issue with the camera, but we're back here. I just wonder if this is actually a better experience on this game than the Moza R3, and we've got a very unique opportunity here to just hot swap between them. So it doesn't matter here about being light though. This is just a fun game, and like there's some, I was going to say it's a relatively forgiving game. as I bash the Moza R3 there. You know, would I be as comfortable like weaving through traffic like in the Crew Motorfest or Test Drive Unlimited? Probably not, because of that gap in the middle. I think the low points of the Logitech are lower than the R3. There's two ways to go here. So it's a less consistent experience, but there are moments where it's just as good, if that makes sense. And maybe that's something you can tune with a lot of settings and maybe modify it as well. What I want to do now is I'm going to switch straight over here. So I'm going to unplug that. And I'm going to plug in the Moza R3. And I'm going to give you some direct comparison here. Here we go. Onto the Moza R3. The Logitech's going mad. Look at this. Nah, the R3 is just better. Like, the wheel is just better. No! Stop fishtailing me! What's a crazy track? There's just more consistency in the Moza. Like, that is a very consistent amount of force feedback. Thank you very much. Oh no, I feel like my wheel rotation is probably higher in the Moza R3, which is why you can see here I'm waggling the wheel and nothing's really happening too much. Because I think in the Logitech it would move a bit. There's some areas where I feel like, I mean, I think the force feedback is just not being very helpful here, but the force feedback feels like it should be better, but maybe it's true force or something that gives me much more of a connection when I'm driving. Like, let's go over again. Hot swapping this. I think it just, honestly, I know what it is. I think in a game like this, you actually want lighter force feedback. You don't really want any resistance. You want to feel what the road surface is doing, but you don't want it to be aggressively pushing you back. And that's maybe where the Moza R3 solution is not. I don't know if this is true force enabled on this game, but it just feels like the way the game is talking to the wheel is doing a better job, considering that the wheel doesn't have the same amount of force. So that really wasn't clear cut. I would say Project Cars 2, the Moza R3 was a lot better. It was genuinely a lot better. You could properly get into it. You could feel the tyre sliding. You couldn't do it really on the Logitech. The F1 game only works that's 1-0 for Moza. F1 game is 1-1 because it only works on Logitech. And I say Dirt 5 is possibly a draw. So it's a lot closer than I thought. You know what? Let me know in the comments what you want me to test with these wheels. I've got both of them. I've got the Xbox. Let me know what aspects you want. Build quality, testing the maximum torque, testing the heat, infrared camera. Let me know in the comments and I will get back to you, because this is actually much more of a tantalizing competition than I thought. It's not just about how it is on paper. Thanks so much. More videos around here, and I will see you next time.